What's going on, everyone? So, we're getting an upcoming Ready or Not 2, and we got some updates in regards to that film. The first one is that it has begun filming. So, they are in the process of filming the upcoming Ready or Not 2. We'll touch on kind of the idea behind that in the first one. And then, secondly, we also know the title or the subtitle for the upcoming Ready or Not. So, it's Ready or Not 2, Ready or Not, Here I Come. So the official title is Ready or Not, Here I Come, which is going to be very interesting. Now, obviously, Samara Weaving is back. She is going to be at the helm. I'm really curious to see how are they going to approach this sequel. The first Ready or Not, you can make an argument, doesn't really need a sequel, right? Like it was, film came out 2019, right? It had a pretty good conclusive ending. Right? Now, obviously we know, I'll try not to spoil too much, but there are some stuff that I'm going to have to relay because it is a sequel. If you haven't seen the first one, I don't know why you clicked on a video about a sequel, but now's your chance, right? But getting into it, right? You have this family, right? That believes in this dark force, right? And, ultimately in the end, they at first think like, oh, wow, that was foolish. That was silly, right? And then boom, things start popping off, literally, right? And so maybe this is something where they kind of continue that story into new families, into new, groups. And, the idea of Ready or Not, Here I Come. Maybe Samara Weaving's character is going to track down these other families that are, doing similar things. That could be a potential, right? Grace is Samara Weaving's character's name. Maybe Grace is going to kind of, go to war against these dark forces and these families that believe in this and, practice these ritualistic games and all that stuff. Does she kind of partake in some of them, right? Does she, kind of, parade herself as somebody? I'm really curious to see how are they going to kind of expand and build on this story. Is it something completely unrelated, right? Is this something where, they kind of just do their own thing and they tell a new story, right? Radio Silence is back at the helm of this. And the first film, I enjoyed the first film. I thought it was a good film. It had a good balance of comedic moments with some, blood and some over the topness. And, Samara Weaving I thought was great in the acting role as Grace. And, there's going to be new characters. We have more and more kind of coming out. I'm going to do a video on all of the characters that are expected in this upcoming. There's some big names that I think many of you will be really excited for, but just in general, right? Like we're in this space in horror where it's all these sequels and remakes and requels and prequels or direct sequels or legacy sequels. And I've always talked about not everything needs a sequel. All right. But if you can have a good story, good execution, good delivery, right? Good kind of build up of what you're trying to get across, and it can continue something without ruining or tarnishing or just kind of, well, that kind of went left, right? Like, if it's something that you can do without kind of ruining its, predecessor, like, then fine, right? I'm okay with it, but there are some films that I feel like, again, Ready or Not, I felt was very conclusive. You just kind of had it relegated to this family. They play this game. She's kind of in this world that she's got to kind of try to survive. She ends up, surviving. And then lo and behold, everyone kind of standing around thinking like, oh, this is it. We all failed. Here it comes. And then, you kind of look around and everyone's like, oh, okay. Like, and then you have this moment of relief. You have this moment of like, see, these people are just crazy, right? Like, man, this is just, see, they're just foolish. They're just insane. And then again, boom, 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 boom. And then you're just like, oh, and then she just kind of walks out. And you had the great scene with her on the steps, smoking the stogie. And there you go, right? I thought that it was a film that gave you a real, just proper conclusion and told you the story and everything that you needed, right? Well, now you're trying to piggyback off of that, create this new installment, do this new thing with another star-studded cast, which I'm excited for. But you run the risk of kind of taking away what made that first one so successful. And it was very different, and it was unique, and it was original to an extent. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of, like hide and seek style games, right? But, or horror films, right? But, this I thought was very creative, and it told a good story, and it had good acting and good, direction, and it flowed well, and you had characters that, you just despised, and, you were rooting for some and rooting against others. And then, I thought it had a good ending that kind of just gave you what you wanted from a comedic standpoint to a horror, type of standpoint. And it kind of just all kind of culminated in this one thing. I thought they did a really good job with that. And now you have the sequel that, if it's great, if it's good, if it gets the point across and it hits, and they're able to kind of continue to build the story. Look, Radio Silence is great. Big fan of Radio Silence and kind of the projects that they do. Obviously, they were in Scream. I'm a big Scream guy, right? Favorite horror franchise. Also, they've done things like Abigail and, obviously Ready or Not. And, they started out as like a YouTube thing and like evolved into, being the directors and filmmakers and stuff that they are now. So, I'm always looking to kind of see what they're getting into. And they're kind of getting the band back together from Samara Weaving to Radio Silence and whatnot for this upcoming installment. So I do have some faith and excitement for it. It's just, again, like you have to hit this and make sure that this is done right, because there is a version of this that goes very poorly, and we're all just kind of like, well, that was disappointing, right? Or you kind of make the first one lose its luster a little bit. You make the first one kind of like, okay, like I think. My guess is it'll probably just be like in continued. I think the Here I Come is kind of your clue on how this is going to go. I think you're going to have Grace basically hunting down these families and going through and trying to stop these forces and stuff like that. Like I think that's probably the approach, right? Like, here I come. I'm coming to put an end to this and make sure that you guys stop hurting people and other people aren't in the position that I got put in, and and just kind of tell a fun, unique story. So, I hopefully they do right. Hopefully they do a good job, execution, delivery, the storytelling. Samara Weaving's going to be great. I'm never worried about that. Got some really good actors and actresses in this upcoming film, and do a whole video about that because I really want to kind of break down the actors and actresses. So look forward to that. But just in general, we'll see how this goes. But filming begins. Very excited for it. We got the title, Ready or Not, Here I Come. But as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Excited? Are you disappointed? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.